Hey, it's Joe Amoya, founder and creator of GPSforlove.com. Today, I'd like to talk about the one thing that a guy absolutely positively must have before he'll commit to you or any other woman. You see, because there's this myth out there that us guys can't commit, that we won't commit, that we only want one thing. You know what that one thing is, right? Well, yes, that one thing is important. It's very important. But in reality, we can get that one thing from anybody else. We don't have to commit to a woman to get that one thing. Because the one thing that we're really looking for, that we absolutely must have, is to be with a woman who trusts us to be ourselves. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's check it out. There was a time where I was with a woman who didn't trust me at all. Okay? And I wasn't doing anything not to be trusted. And that was the frustrating thing to my end. She was so insecure. Her self-worth and self-esteem was so low, even though she looked great on the outside, that it led to her not trusting me. And it became a big problem for me and for her, ultimately causing the demise of our relationship. So I ultimately realized, you know what, that wasn't a good experience. That kind of sucked. So I didn't want to ever be with someone like that again. And so when I was getting clear on my checklist for love, I was kind of saying to myself, if I'm going to spend the rest of my life with someone, what's something that I absolutely positively must have? And you know what the number one thing that I needed was? Wasn't sex, it wasn't physical attraction. Again, those things were important. I knew I was going to get those things anyway. But the number one thing was I needed to have a woman who I knew was always going to have my back, that allowed me to be me. And when I read this study, I was like, well, that's exactly what trust is a woman who trusts me to be me. And so I would say, if you give a guy a rope, he's either going to pull you forward or he's going to hang himself. Now, I know you're out there and you're saying, yeah, but Joe, you know, guys are scumbags. You don't understand what I've been through. Look, trust me, been a guy for 49. I know exactly what guys are like, okay? But there's a difference between men and boys. So trust needs to be earned. One of the biggest problems you have is you open up your heart and your legs to guys who haven't earned that right yet. They haven't shown you that they're trustworthy. Now, they may have done so for a couple of days, a couple of dates, maybe even a couple of weeks. But you're so high on estrogen and oxytocin, and your hormones are raging, that you really haven't taken the time to see if this guy is trustworthy. Because, see, a guy who is trustworthy has integrity. And integrity is like being pregnant. You either have it or you don't. There's no selective integrity. I'm not going to have integrity today and not have it tomorrow. I'm not going to have integrity in my relationship but not have integrity in my business life. Okay? I'm not going to have integrity in my finances but not have it in my relationships with my friends and coworkers. Okay? It's not how it works. You either have integrity or you don't. And very often, when a guy isn't trustworthy, there will always be signs that he's not trustworthy. He'll be doing things, he'll be saying things which are little clues, little red flags, would let you know, this guy's not trustworthy, I got to pay attention here. And I promise you, if you pay attention, if you sit back and you're really honest, and your eyes and your ears are open and your legs are closed, you're going to find out relatively quickly that a guy isn't trustworthy, because the signs and the red flags are always there. So I'm sharing this with you today because I want you to understand, if you have a hard time trusting guys, okay, if you have a hard time opening up your heart and letting guys in, and you have a hard time allowing a guy to be himself, then you're going to have a hard time getting a guy to commit to you. Now, again, please understand, this isn't about just trusting anybody right off the bat. This is about sitting back as you start to date someone, saying, are you a guy? Are you a man? Or are you a boy? Are you trustworthy? You know what? You need to show me. And that guy will either show you that he's trustworthy consistently, or he won't. He's going to start not calling when he says he's going to call. He's going to say one thing and do another, and then he's going to make excuses for it. Those are the telltale signs that a guy isn't trustworthy. And if you see a guy like that, i.e. a boy, kick his ass to the curb, move on, and go find a man. But once you find a man, a good man, make sure that you trust him, because the more you trust him, the more you give him that rope and you allow him to be himself, the more he's going to want to love you and be with you. You know, I try to be very transparent about my relationship with my wife. One of the things that I love most about my wife is she allows me to be me. You know, she understands me and she supports me. And because she does that, because she trusts me, and she knows at the end of the day I'm coming home and crawling back into her bed, the more she does that, the more I want to be her. And the more I realize that if I were to leave her or to do something stupid, it'd be the worst mistake of my life. And I promise you that if you trust a guy, the right guy, when he finds you, he'll feel the same way. And it's okay if you don't believe it. There was a time where I didn't believe it was possible either. So that's the tip for today. So trust is a big, big issue for many people, maybe the exact issue that you're struggling with. So if it is, I want you to take some mirror time. Get really clear. Is trust an issue for you? If so, why? And what needs to be different for you to learn how to trust a guy in a healthy, happy, and exciting way? Okay, so that's today's homework. I'll see you next time. As always, an honor, privilege to be with you. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, make sure to post them in the box below. I'll see you next time. Much love.